Hello, welcome to Gabbing While Gaming, Episode 2 Redux. It's like deja vu. I feel like we just did this last week. We have FootedRanger with us today.
Hello.
For the second time in a week, basically. And we'll kind of go over that a little bit, but I'm going to roll the intro and we'll get into it. So, funny thing with the intro, I had Killer Nikki Doll on yesterday and forgot to change the name out. So I guess I'm going to have some work to do in post edit. So to clarify, this is not Killer Nikki. This is FootedRanger, twitch.tv/FootedRanger. Was on last week. When I went to go look at the stream, there was a lot of sound issues beyond what could be easily corrected. I was very loud. He was very barely hearable, and then I would cut out once in a while. So hopefully we got that fixed. We have a great show for you today. We're going to be discussing some video game movies and some exciting news with Dmca takedowns on YouTube. So, Footed, how long have you streamed?
I've been streaming. It's almost been 2 months, maybe 2.5, something like that.
And you got affiliate pretty much the same day as the podcast last week. Is that correct?
Yes, I did. That was kind of crazy. The only problem with that was I got the followers that I needed, but the month rolled over, like day of. So I had to redo all the hours and the chats and everything that they require.
Oh, so you didn't get the email right away. You actually
No, I got it I got it this week. I just streamed real quick for a couple days.
Basically, you just had to stream for 7 days, right?
Yeah, it wasn't bad. I'm not complaining.
I think that's what it is. Is that you have to stream for 7 days in a month, or maybe it's just seven times.
It's seven. Yeah, it's seven streams in a month, and then to a total of 8 hours, I think, something like that.
Yeah, and then 3 viewers.
Yes.
Three average viewers.
Yes.
But I mean, that's an exciting thing to do.
No, it is.
The rare cases where I streamed 8 times and I was an affiliate.
Oh wow!
Which the funny part is, I was telling Nikki this when she was on yesterday. I don't really focus on Twitch that much. I do stream, but I don't focus on Twitch that much. I don't focus on YouTube that much. I focus on building a website, and to build my website, I had to get a big Twitter following, which I was able to leverage and get pretty much instant affiliate.
Right. I've been to your website. It's really nice. It's a really good site.
You're gonna have your face on there next week.
Ooh.
Because every week I put a featured streamer up. I did not put you on last week because the podcast episode never went live on Spotify.
Mm-hmm.
And I have Nikki on this week. Next week, I'm going to have a podcaster for my guest, so I'm going to put you on so you get your featured streamer spot.
Cool. I'll go check it out next week.
Now, what really got you into streaming?
Well, originally I wanted to be a speedrunner. I wanted to speedrun Castle Crashers.
That was going to be my next question. What game?
Yeah, Castle Crashers. I wanted a game kind of in the middle, and a game like lengthwise. I didn't want it to be too short, too long, and I wanted to be a game I'm familiar with. So I've been playing Castle Crashers since I don't know, since I was 10. I'd play with my friends on the weekends. I'd go to his house and have a sleepover. We'd just play Castle Crashers or Call of Duty Zombies, something like that. And those were good memories for me. So I loved the game, and I thought, why not? Let me try and see how fast I can go.
I think I played it one time.
I mean, that's all you need, but
I mean, I don't even remember it. I might be wrong. I might not even played it. I know I own it, but like many games I own, I don't always know if I've played those games.
Hey, I own like 200 games in my Steam library. Played maybe 100 of them, so I know that feeling.
I own around 1,800 in my Steam library.
Nice.
Another 200 on Epic.
Okay.
Also, Origin.
Okay.
Ubisoft. UB.
Whoa. I have a couple in like spread out, like Epic and those places, but not nearly as much as. None of them are in triple digits, I don't think.
Another 1,000 games on Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
Another 300 games on PlayStation 2. 100 games on GameCube. 100 games on Wii. I am a game collector. I spend more time probably buying games and finding deals than I end up playing games. I'm just excited to get the game.
I know, me too. I'm like that a lot of the time. Like bigger number, better person, you know.
But I mean, I'm not buying them as fast now because there's so many games. The amount of games I have now, I will probably never have time to play in my lifetime.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Pretty much. I would have to play every day. I get a new game every day.
Now, speaking of games, I didn't say in the intro, I don't know if you are. I'm playing Isaac. What am I playing?
Binding of Isaac Rebirth.
Yeah, Binding of Isaac Rebirth. I did actually play it from podcast to podcast a little bit.
Really?
Not a lot, but a little bit. So I'm a little bit better at it than I was.
Yeah.
It's hard.
It is hard.
It's actually a hard game.
It's a very hard game.
You get to the first couple, I was so excited the first time I actually beat a boss and didn't die.
Have you gotten to the mom yet?
To who?
Oh, I guess not. The main antagonist of the game is your mother. Is Isaac's mother.
Oh no, I haven't got that far.
So
I pretty much fought the worm and right now I'm fighting the poop.
Okay. Dingle.
Yes, Dingle.
Dingle's my. He's one of my favorite bosses.
And there's the spider too.
The big one, the like long legs. Yeah. He's a good one.
But I mean, I've died so much in this game. I was so excited. I'm like, I'm never gonna beat a boss. This game's impossible. And then I finally beat one. And I'm like, oh, I got triple shot. Triple shot really helps when you get in that situation.
No, some of the different tier effects, like there's double shot, triple shot. You can charge your tiers. You can shoot sides out. Just different things. Any of the tier effects are pretty good. They're really good.
Interesting thing about the first podcast we did is we never reviewed the game.
No.
I mean, you had played it before.
Yeah, I love that game.
But we got into it. We got into the topics. I'm like, okay, an hour's passed. Let's end. And then I shut the podcast off, and I was like, oh, we missed something. So that is why I'm going over the game quite early because I don't want to miss it. But I would say I think this cost me like $3 or $4. It was not expensive at all.
No, it's not even a little bit, but it's worth your money.
Yeah, and I like that it doesn't rely on, some games have great graphics, but they're not fun games.
Yes.
This, kind of like Stardew Valley and those type of games, it doesn't rely on complicated graphics.
Not at all. Like the very first game, the one that you originally bought, that one has horrible graphics. Like it's so bad. but it's such a fun game. I have just as many hours in that one as I have this one. And this one has like 5 DLCs a part of it too.
Seriously.
Like he went crazy.
I mean, one thing I do really like about this one compared to the first one does have controller support, but it's not very good.
Right.
This one has much, much better controller support, and I am a controller boy.
I am not. If I don't have to use controller, I don't. But some games are made. Some games are meant for controllers. That's the thing. Like Castle Crashers is the game I play, or speedrun. They have a big pop up in the beginning that says we recommend use a controller. Like use a controller, you'll have a better time.
I mean, some games are better with controller, and there are some games I will say are better with mouse and keyboard. I mean, shooters are by far easier to aim with mouse and keyboard.
Yeah, I hate playing first-person shooters with third-person shooters. I'm okay with playing controller, but first-person I can't do it.
I mean, yeah, the aim on there is just not good. Now, I have found a good compromise. I now have an MMO mouse on at least 3 of my computers that I play games on. 2 of them I don't, but I don't know if you've ever used one, but you have, well, mine have 12 buttons that you can assign to whatever. On the side, they're all thumb buttons.
Right.
And by having that, you can essentially control everything from your mouse and just control your movement with your keyboard. So it makes it very controller-esque.
Okay.
The only trouble is, you know, in each game you program your mouse and you got to remember which button does what.
Right.
That's really
Pro tip. Pro tip for the next boss. I didn't want to interrupt you while you were talking. If you use your item in the top left corner, he explodes and does damage to the boss.
Okay, that's good to know. Because I did use bombs.
Yeah, I saw you. You're gaming. But I need a new mouse, I think, because I have a couple buttons on the side. And I need more.
I mean,
I think it's easier. I think it's easier to have. Yeah.
They're good for a lot of things. I wrote an article on this. I mean, you can use them for, like, if you're doing like copying and pasting, you can have one button on your mouse assigned to copy, one button to paste.
Oh, you can macro it?
Yeah, and that's the thing.
Okay.
You can make a bunch of profiles, depending on what mouse you have, but you know, most of them will at least let you make 9 profiles. And you can always change them. So I would recommend an MMO mouse to pretty much everybody who PC games, or even some people who don't PC game, but they just use the same combination of buttons a lot.
I watched recently. I watched a video from Linus Tech Tips. It was a super old video. It was like 7 or 8 years old, but his editor made a video on the like having a second keyboard of just macros for his editing software. So he didn't have to like hotkey anything or like do anything. So he just looks over, clicks a button, and then it like reverses the video, it like cuts it, pastes it, and just stuff like that. And I thought that's super useful.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same concept as we were right before the stream. We were kind of talking about Stream Decks, or apps that mimic Stream Decks, and it's the same concept. You have something that you can use just to control one thing.
Right. I think it's super useful. I'm not sure that I would use it in my like things I do daily, or like my daily computer use, but I can see the necessity or the functionality of it.
Is there a way I can get these hearts?
If you use your little dude in the corner.
I figured out how to use them.
I think it's left bumper. Run away. There you go.
Yeah, it is.
And also he attracts enemies to him. So if you're like in a pickle, you can just throw them down and then they'll go to him rather than you.
Oh, spiffy. Yeah, I'm going to have to learn with the different items and stuff too. But, I mean, you can probably tell just by watching me, I played it a little bit more than last time.
Yeah, no, I can tell.
When I'm just wandering around being like, what do I do?
There's a website. I'll send it to you on Discord. It's like the wiki for Binding of Isaac.
So last week we had our video game movie discussion and television show. Now we get to have a similar discussion. But there are a ton of movies and video games coming out, or I'm sorry, movies and shows coming out based around video games, like an unbelievable amount. Are there any that you're actually looking forward to, or any that you dread?
I'm looking forward to the Sonic 2 movie, or the second Sonic movie. I think the first one was really funny. And not
like the first one.
Not like funny, but like it was enough to like, oh, I'll go watch it again, you know? And then we mentioned last time that Detective Pikachu 2 was coming out soon. Or not soon, but it was announced.
It was greenlit.
It was greenlit.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Detective Pikachu 2. I really like Detective Pikachu, which is funny because I don't like Pokemon.
I'm not a huge fan of it, but I like the movie. I really like the movie. And whenever I do get my hands on a Pokemon game, I have a good time. I'm not like those people that are like know every single type and every single evolution, but
I mean, I played Pokemon Go for a little while.
Hey, that's good enough.
I don't know if that counts, but
I think it does. It should count. And then Mario movie I think is going to be horrible.
It can't be worse than the first one.
Yeah, I guess not.
I mean, the first one at least had comedic value.
That's true. It was one of those so bad it's good type of deals.
It was one of those so bad that Nintendo didn't make another video game movie until Detective Pikachu. It was like 20 years. They didn't make a video game movie.
I know.
They're like, no, we're not doing that again.
I think they ruined their Hollywood career with that one movie until I guess Detective Pikachu. And that was kind of was that like Super Nintendo or not Super Nintendo? Was that like Nintendo's involved a lot, or is it kind of a different company just taking the IP?
I am not sure about that. That is a good question. Let's see if Google can tell us the answer. Because I'm kind of curious on that one. Does Google say?
I don't know. I wouldn't assume they would. Just do that again, or even try it. Because Game Freak is separate from Nintendo mostly. I wonder if that was their contribution. I don't know.
I mean, all I can find right now on a quick search is that, it was based on a Nintendo game property. So I don't know how much influence they had or didn't have. I mean, I think a big part of it is Nintendo is not in the business to make movies. They're in the business to make innovative products that nobody else makes.
Yeah, their focus is not the movie industry.
But now I talked to you about this before the show a little bit, but Witcher 2 was absolutely amazing. Witcher Season 2. Witcher Season 1 I didn't like. My wife liked it, so I ended up watching it.
Okay.
But it has 3 separate stories, and it keeps on going back and forth between them. And like, if you turn away for a second, you don't know what's going on.
Interesting.
There are some shows and movies I like that do that, time skip thing all over the place. That just wasn't one of them. So when Witcher Season 2 came out, I'm like, oh, we can wait to watch that. And we did until, I think we started watching it Tuesday night after the podcast. And we finished it on Wednesday. Okay. Like, it's just like, oh man, I want to watch the next episode. Oh man, I want to watch the next episode. Oh man, I want to... It just kept going. And I was amazed at the difference between Season 1 and Season 2.
Is it just the studio picked it up, or like they had new actors, or they had better performances?
It's all the same actors. The performances are about the same, but it's doing a linear story instead of the time jumping thing.
Oh, okay. No, I get that.
Because it's a linear story, even though they do technically have two stories that kind of go back and forth between them, it's all on the same timeline. And my problem with Witcher 1 is there were 3 stories, all on different timelines, and I kept losing my place. I don't have the strongest attention span. I would look away for a minute, and all of a sudden, I wouldn't know what was going on. And then I'd just be bored the rest of the episode. And then the next day, we'd watch another episode, and like 5 minutes in, I'd look away. I had no idea what was going on. I went into season 2 not really knowing what happened to season 1 except the end.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I loved season 2. Here's an interesting one. Five Nights at Freddy's. And that is as a movie. I don't see how they're going to make a good movie out of Five Nights at Freddy's.
I don't either. I really don't. I can't picture it in my head.
I mean, from what I've seen, I'm going to get a lot of flack for saying this one. But I really enjoy DC television shows. I don't enjoy a lot of DC movies.
Okay.
I'm wondering if video game movies, not necessarily all of them, and shows are going to be the same way. Hey, I like the shows, but the movies are just, Because I think the show gives more time to flesh it out.
I think so too. I think it has, it has a more, just what you said. It has more time to figure what it's doing wrong, what it's doing right, and what audience they're trying to attract.
Now, I know the Halo premiere just came out. I know you had mentioned that before we started. Did you watch it?
My dad did, and he said he loved it. So, I don't know. Take that with a grain of salt.
I mean, I've only heard good things about it, and I didn't watch it. I have Paramount Plus. I didn't watch it because I'm like, Halo? I don't really see what the plot of Halo could be. Even though I guess the games, they do have a decent plot. But I didn't really expect it to be good. So now I'm like, maybe I got to watch it. Maybe we got to see what this is about.
Hey, give me 2 seconds. I have to run for like 5 minutes. I'll be back.
No problem. Just for anyone who may be listening or watching, he is on call. So he may have to step away every couple minutes or so to take care of whatever he does for his job. I actually don't know what it is. But one thing I will say, one show I am highly, highly looking forward to, and I'm sure other people may have some different opinions on this, but I want to see what they do with The Last of Us. The Last of Us could very, very easily be the next Walking Dead. It has a similar plot. It has a similar function. The game just has a wonderful story. I know The Last of Us Part 2 is a little bit controversial for some people, but it still had a great story. I think The Last of Us can easily be converted into an amazing television show. I am very much hoping that gets released in 2023, because if it does, I will be watching it at least until probably on release day. Until I can decide if it's good or bad, but I have high hopes for that one. Other things coming out that I think are interesting but concern me. The Bioshock Show. Now, Bioshock the game has a very interesting, very unique story. It works as a game. I'm sorry, it's a movie, not a show. But it works as a game. I'm not sure it's going to work or translate as well into a movie. I'm sure it's not going to be the exact same plot, if it is, it's not worth watching. But they could do so many cool things with what they do in theater now with the Bioshock movie. And if they can bring the story or a semblance of the story to life on the big screen, that's one that could really be worth watching. It could also be an absolute disaster. Dragon's Lair, the movie. Now, I don't know if anybody besides me who is old remembers this. Dragon's Lair was a cartoon at one point in time. And when I was a kid, I watched Dragon's Lair. I think it could be interesting to see what they do with Dragon's Lair. But for the most part, I don't have a lot of high hopes for video game movies and shows, but I hope I'm wrong. I really do. Like I said, it could be like the DC thing. I'm not a big fan of most DC movies. I am a huge fan of everything in the Arrowverse. Peacekeeper was really good. Peacemaker, I'm sorry, not Peacekeeper. It was really good. DC has done a great thing with their television shows, and I enjoy some of their movies. There are a lot of them I don't enjoy, or I just think, it's okay. Now, Marvel, on the other hand, they do a wonderful job with their movies, and they've done a pretty good job with their television shows, too. So, a little bit off topic from the video games, but comic books are very, very related. Another thing I'm kind of interested in, they are releasing, they have The Witcher Season 3, but they're also releasing The Witcher Blood Origin, which is another, I believe it's a prequel to The Witcher itself. I'm kind of interested in that. Now, here's something I am not interested in. And it's because the movie left a bad taste in my mouth, not necessarily because the show is going to be bad. Assassin's Creed, the show. If anybody saw the movie, they'll probably know what I'm talking about. It was an absolute disaster. It was just not good. It was like an hour and a half or 2 hour nap. Now, I think that Assassin's Creed as a story could actually make a great show, but if they do it wrong, it's going to be bad. It's going to be real bad. That is one I will probably be waiting to watch. Devil May Cry as a show. That's one that could be unique, to say the least. I don't know if it's going to be good, but I think it could definitely be unique. So I may check that one out. Resident Evil video game TV shows. Now, I think that's a live action, and if I remember correctly, that's on Netflix. That could be interesting. The anime that Netflix has come out with for Resident Evil is relatively good. I enjoy it. At least as much as I can. I am not a huge anime fan, so it's a little harder for me to get into. But I've watched some of it. There wasn't anything I really disliked in it. It had good plot lines. So I think the live action show could be really good. I was not a fan of Resident Evil movies. They weren't horrible. Like, there are some video game movies that are absolutely horrible. But they weren't what I would call good. They were passable. A sequel to the Tomb Raider movie, the last Tomb Raider movie that came out, is in the works. Not the ones that have Angelina Jolie, but the ones that are newer than that.
Hey, sorry about that.
No problem. The Angelina Jolie movies were actually decent. But then they came out with a Tomb Raider reboot. It was not good. So what do we have now? Tomb Raider 2, which I also expect to be not good.
I never saw the original ones.
The Angelina Jolie ones?
Yeah.
Now, did you see the Tomb Raider that was released in I think it was
no, I haven't seen any of the Tomb Raider movies.
Gotcha. Here's a question: have you seen Uncharted?
No, I have not. I did not go watch it.
I have heard really, really amazing things about Uncharted.
I've heard it's one of the best video game movies. So take that what you will.
I've heard it's a video game movie. Yep, it has Tom Holland. He has some good acting. It's a video game movie.
I mean, I heard it was nothing special.
See, I've heard the opposite. I've heard it was actually really good. Now,
okay.
I've never played the Uncharted games.
I haven't either.
I haven't been a PlayStation boy since PlayStation 2.
You never played the Uncharted games?
I have not. I've never played the Uncharted games. I did play The Last of Us because I have PS Now on PC. I played The Last of Us Part 1 and 2 on that. But yeah, I haven't played a whole lot of... Oh, my bombs follow me. I haven't played a whole lot of PlayStation games, even though I have the ability to play, 500 of them. But speaking of PlayStation, interesting factoid. From what I've heard, their new service that is replacing PS Now and PlayStation Plus comes out next week.
I heard I saw that. I wonder what they're gonna do to innovate it, or they're just gonna have a system finally in place for themselves.
Did we talk about this last week at all? I don't remember.
Yes, we did. A little bit.
Okay. My whole thing with it is, I've had PS Now for years. I don't have to have a PlayStation. I can play games on PC. I don't know if their new services are going to have the PC streaming or not. I hope they do, because once again, I'm not going to buy a PlayStation. It's almost impossible to find one right now anyway.
Right.
But I like the fact that I can play games. I like the fact that I can play Xbox games. I have an Xbox, but I can play Xbox Series X games, even though I only have an Xbox One, because I can stream them. It's nice. I like it.
Right. That makes sense.
Now, PlayStation Now is like $10 a month, or $60 a year if you buy it a year at a time. And the prices that I saw when they were proposing this new service were a nice price increase compared to what I pay for PS Now.
Okay.
So even if they have the game streaming, I'm not sure I'll keep the service.
Interesting.
I think PlayStation is making a mistake in what they're doing. I know they're trying to compete with Game Pass, but they already had a service that could compete with Game Pass.
Right.
And that's, they had a service that could compete with Game Pass. The biggest problem was on PlayStation, it had an okay interface. The interface on PC is horrible and quite buggy.
Right.
Like, to give an example.
Expected.
Well, to give an example, it doesn't have a search function. There's like 300 games on there, but you can't search to find the game you want to play. You just have to figure out where it is.
I think anything without a search function is just not good, and they shouldn't. If it doesn't have, there's no point in not having a search function. Just to look up basic parts of your program, of your software.
I mean, the Microsoft Store, which by most people is considered a horrible interface for a store, for a software and game store, is better than PS Now.
Right.
As far as the interface goes. It has a search function. There's also, there's a lot of game crashes. PC for whatever reason, doesn't like to recognize DualShock controllers on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm.
And another problem with that, which I ran into, there are so many DualShock controllers that are not made by Sony. Like so many PS4, probably PS5 controllers soon, that are not made by Sony. Which I think is great because you can get controllers cheaper. Except a lot of them don't work on PC.
Right.
And
which I think if it doesn't work on PC, I don't think it's worth buying for me personally.
You know a controller is good on PC that is a surprise?
Mm-hmm.
Switch Pro.
The Switch Pro?
Switch Pro controller
Really?
is phenomenal on PC.
Huh.
You wouldn't have thought so, right?
No, not a Nintendo product. I would think Nintendo wants to keep their... I feel like they would put something in there to like make sure you can't use it anywhere else but their console.
But the thing is with the Bluetooth, you can just connect through Bluetooth. And the same thing goes for PS4 controllers, Xbox controllers. It's just a matter of whether the software that is in the computer actually supports it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, thanks to a wonderful little product called Steam,
Love them.
Likes to bring compatibility where it was never thought it was going to be before. You can play on with almost any controller if you're playing a game from Steam.
Right. And I think Steam does a great job.
I mean, Steam is doing things that nobody would have ever expected.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Steam is trying to bring, and this is actually the second time they've done it. The first time was a little bit of a failure. But Steam is trying to bring gaming to be more common to Linux.
Really?
I mean, the Steam Deck is Linux based.
Interesting. I feel like a lot of their programmers or their software engineers use strictly Linux.
And you probably don't remember this, but I want to say it was about 6 or 7 years ago. Steam used third-party companies like HP and whatnot to produce something called the Steam Box.
Mm-hmm.
And the Steam Box was essentially a computer, a regular-sized desktop computer, or maybe kind of like a small form factor one.
Right.
But the concept was you could stream games from your main PC to the Steam Box.
Right.
And out of that came the Steam Link, which was a little box you could easily stream to. And they kind of dropped the Steam Box, and the Steam Links use something called Steam OS on it.
Okay.
It's Linux based.
Interesting.
The Steam boxes used Steam OS too. Now, the Steam Deck is also using Steam OS. It's just an updated version of it. And they are working very hard to get as many games compatible as possible. I mean, originally they said 98% of all games would be compatible. That's not going to happen.
I think give it a good 10 years.
Maybe. I mean, I think the Steam Deck, we'll call it the Steam Deck version 1 because I think there's going to be future versions. But the Steam Deck version 1 is a good start, and it's a good thing to start getting game developers focused on Linux, because I don't know, how you feel about things. I really don't want to run Windows. Like, if I could stop Windows when they quit making updates for Windows 10, so I never have to update to Windows 11, I'm all for it.
I hate that they force you, like that it's a manual. Not manual, sorry, automatic thing for them to update your Windows.
It depends. That depends on how new your system is, because if your system doesn't have a TPM chip, it's not technically Windows 11 compatible. And if it's not Windows 11 compatible, there is a way you can update it, but you're really not supposed to. Just like they'll allow you to install it. Oh, this is why we talked about Windows last week. because of the stupid banner. They'll allow you to install it, but they'll, put a banner on your screen now because that's what everybody wants, saying your hardware is unsupported. And my question is, if my hardware is unsupported, why is it running on my machine? I've ran things where hardware is unsupported and it didn't run. So
I don't know what they're doing over there.
I don't know.
I know what they're doing,
but a lot of the time, the good thing that's come out of Microsoft in the last couple of years is Game Pass, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And if you don't
can
have
agree
it,
to that.
Do you have it?
No, I don't. It's too many games for me. I got it one time for Sea of Thieves because it was on Game Pass, and then I played it for like a week, and then I got rid of it.
That's fair enough, though. For the simple fact of, I've watched you stream. I've only seen you stream one game.
Is that Risk of Rain?
I've watched you stream probably, a month now? Every time I go, it's Risk of Rain. That's the only thing I've ever seen you stream. If you watch me stream, it's like a different game every night.
Right.
Heck, I'm streaming a new game tonight.
What are you streaming tonight?
It is called The Dragon Cancer. And this was going to come up a little further on our next podcast discussion. So I'm going to wait till we get to the next topic to kind of go over what it is.
Anticipation's killing me.
I can tell you the premise of the game.
I'm just kidding.
I can tell you the premise of the game, but there's a reason I was going to bring it up later, and it has to do with the DMCA talk that we were going to have.
Oh, okay.
And it was actually brought up yesterday on the podcast because the creators of this were DMCA striking people who were streaming the game, but they weren't putting any commentary in.
Interesting.
So it's basically just a game stream. Now, this game is considered the most emotional game of all time. It was created by... I don't have my notes from yesterday. Well, maybe I do have my notes from yesterday. It was created by two parents. And when they started creating it, their son was diagnosed with a rare terminal cancer. And the game is about their son. In the middle of making the game, he died. So the game does not have a happy ending. I'm taking it. I haven't played it yet. But just from what I know about it, it probably doesn't have a happy ending. And when they made this game, and it got a lot of people streaming it. As a matter of fact, Nikki said that PewDiePie, she watched PewDiePie stream it, and that was the first time she's ever seen PewDiePie cry. So, I think that says something a little bit about it.
Yeah. If people are crying on stream about the game, I think that's something to say.
But
that's wow.
Yeah, it's apparently very, very emotional. And our talk yesterday was a lot about emotional video games, and that was the game we were going to play, but due to personal reasons on her part, we decided to switch games and pivot.
Right.
But the DMCA thing, I guess this can just lead us into our next topic. The DMCA thing, I actually made the comment that, well, you're not really creating content if you're just streaming, but you're not adding anything to it.
Right.
And she brought up some good points, actually, about, people who can't afford the equipment or people who they're just not comfortable yet. And
they're just practicing.
Well, I will say, my first 3 or 4 streams, that's all I did is stream. I didn't do anything. Now I talk to myself and make bad jokes if nobody's chatting. But, it kind of changed my opinion a little bit. But legally, the way the DMCA works, a game is copyrighted material. And here's an interesting thing about games. A lot of them will say in their terms and conditions they don't want the game streamed, but then they'll have another document for streamers saying, well, we probably won't enforce our copyright if you follow these rules.
Right.
You know, and so it's actually a really interesting legal predicament because most game companies, with the way they word their words into terms and conditions and stuff, they could actually DMCA strike any streamer or anyone who's putting up YouTube videos at any point in time.
Yes. No, I completely understand that.
They could change their mind. And what's even more interesting about that, both YouTube, Twitch, Trovo, they all, if you read the terms and conditions on those sites, they say, I agree not to stream copyrighted material.
Huh.
But we're all streaming copyrighted material. The thing is, nobody's enforcing it. So that leads us to our next topic. What happened with Bungie? Did you get a chance to read that article I sent you?
I did. I browsed through it a little bit.
So this story is kind of funny, and I give Bungie a lot of props on this one. So now the way it started is Bungie did send out some DMCA takedown notices. Now Bungie is typically very supportive of the streaming community. They have in their not legal documents, but their what will allow streamers to do page an 80-20 rule. So they say as long as you're doing commentary or you're chatting, we're probably not gonna do a DMCA takedown on you. Now there were some sites that put up just music from Destiny 2.
Right.
And most likely, music is actually very complicated, and the copyright on music is very complicated. I know this from being a musician. I disagree a lot with a whole lot of the copyright system. Okay. And when I say that, I don't think I should be able to take a song by Eminem, put it on YouTube, and say, "Hey, I wrote this." That's Eminem's song. Okay.
Right.
I get that. But like, say you want to play music in a bar, that bar has to pay a license every year to allow cover songs in it, and those licenses typically run between $2,000 and $5,000 a year.
It's insane.
It is massively insane, and the companies enforce that will actually, they're going after these small bars and small restaurants that make hardly any money, and they're extorting them. When in all reality, if somebody's playing a cover of the song, it's going to help the original artist sell more copies, most likely.
Yeah. No, definitely.
If somebody's playing a game on stream, in most cases, it's going to help that game company sell more copies. Interesting thing about the Dragon's Cancer, there was a lot of people streaming it. It had a lot of publicity, a bunch of articles written about it. They only sold 14,000 copies, and they never made their money back.
Oh, wow.
And that's why the guy who made the game started doing DMCA takedown notices on YouTube for people who stream the game without commentary or anything.
Right.
Which he has every right to do. Bungie had every right to put takedown notices, and it could have also had to do with the music licensing. They may have had to put those takedown notices. Now, it is speculated that one or more of those people that they sent a legitimate DMCA takedown notice to, got a little pissed off and decided to see what they could do to damage Bungie. So they started falsely sending DMCA takedown notices to YouTube to all sorts of creators that had 1 million followers. And even on some of Bungie's content itself. They sent DMCA strikes to Bungie for Bungie's content.
Was that was because they're just I mean, they can. YouTube has like system for copyright strikes is horrible.
And that comes up a little bit. And I mean, it's not that much different on Twitch.
Right.
And there's a reason why. Do you know the reason why it is horrible?
I do not actually.
Okay. So the way the DMCA works, if you're a company like YouTube and somebody sends in a DMCA strike, if you make the creator take that content down right away, then you have no liability for the DMCA strike or for the copyright violation. So that encourages YouTube to not look into things very hard.
Okay.
You know, if they stop and look into things and start asking questions, then somebody may hold them accountable for a copyright claim. So for YouTube to make sure they're not held liable, or for Twitch to make sure they're not held liable, they just got to take the content down right away. The other interesting thing about the DMCA, actually, I don't know if this is a DMCA or this is just YouTube. Do you have a YouTube channel?
I do, but there's one video on there.
Okay, so if you got a DMCA strike, not a claim, but a strike on YouTube, you would have, if you want to appeal that strike, you have to give all sorts of personal information to YouTube so they can send it to the person who filed the strike against you. The reason being, if they want to sue you, they need that information.
Wow.
But you don't get their information. You don't get the information of the person who put the strike against you. And that is where this came into play, because YouTube doesn't collect information other than, a name and email address about the person putting the strike against you. So pretty much anybody can pretend to be anybody else. And that's exactly what happened. People claimed they were Bungie and started taking down all sorts of channels, including content from Bungie itself.
That's so funny. Taking down, just like going for the company themselves.
Well, where it gets even better is Bungie, one, is now suing the people who fraudulently placed these copyright claims. Sort of. Right now, they're technically suing nobody because they don't know who it is. Now, my understanding is the people who filed the copyright claims, they've been removed from YouTube and from Google. But Google won't give those names to Bungie to tell them who to sue, which legally they don't have to. So Bungie is now going to use the DMCA, or try to use the DMCA, to get those names from Google. And then they are going to sue these people for $150,000 for every video, or for every false copyright claim.
Oh my god. I mean, they shouldn't do it. But dang.
41 copyright claims.
41?
41 copyright claims. It's a little over $6 million.
Oh my god.
Yes, they're suing for like $6 million.
Jesus.
And in the process, they also went off on YouTube and the weaknesses in the way they handle their copyright system, because they do no investigation whatsoever. They could have easily investigated to figure out, wait, this isn't an email that we've ever got a claim from before. Maybe we should look into it and make sure it's legit.
I think it's part of their fault.
I mean, the copyright system on YouTube is horrible. I could claim a copyright against you on something I don't even own. Nintendo has put copyright claims out for things that they don't own or own the copyright to. So people are using the Steam Deck to run Switch emulators and play Nintendo games on.
Okay.
Now, if Nintendo produces that title, they could put a copyright claim out. However, there are plenty of third-party titles for Nintendo Switch.
Right.
They're also putting copyright claims out for those.
Nice.
So Nintendo's actually putting out false copyright claims because they don't want to see people to see that you can emulate a Switch on a Steam Deck.
That's horrible.
Now,
Nintendo loves their copyright strikes, though.
I mean, Nintendo
They love their copyright strikes.
Nintendo is the most anti-competitive company in the video game industry. Nintendo is not. I refuse to support Nintendo. I think they have some great games and some innovation, but I refuse to support them for that simple reason.
Mm-hmm.
Now, jumping back a little bit, the dragon cancer. This guy actually did say after the fact, hey, this was the wrong way to handle this. I probably shouldn't have put those DMCA claims out there. But I just wish somebody, if they were going to, just stream and not do commentary or anything, they would just give us a donation or something so we at least make our money back. Because they never made their money back for the game. And he was also going through something extremely emotional. So you don't always make the best decisions when you're going through something extremely emotional.
Exactly. I don't. Well, I can understand like his perspective, and then I think streaming like story games isn't great in general too, because it does take away from it does take away the story of the game, and it like if it's a linear story that you can only play through once. I get watching it because some people can't buy the game, they don't have the system, but just sometimes it's like I would understand if it's copyright strike too, because some games are just one playthrough games.
That's true, but I think if you're adding commentary to it, and there are parts in games that are emotional or intense, you're not going to add commentary to because it's better to let people experience that part of the game.
Yeah,
you're adding commentary. Then it becomes a matter of, oh my gosh, what's this called? I'm losing my mind. Where you're, it's you create your own work from somebody else's
fair
work.
Use?
Yeah, it becomes fair use in my opinion, because you are adding.
No, I agree.
It's not the original work. That is one thing I said yesterday. Is I don't necessarily agree with people when they're streaming story-based games. Especially if they're not doing any commentary, because I could see why you would get DMCA strikes in that case.
Right.
But I am so happy about what Bungie's doing. Another interesting fact, I said they did DMCA strikes because of the music. They're looking at rewriting that policy now. Because they found that people brought up the point, well, we want to listen to this music, and the only way to listen to the music is the game. So they're trying to come up with a system that is workable for them and for streamers. So streamers do have an option to be able to make channels with the Destiny music or just Destiny cutscenes. Bungie is very pro streamer.
Yeah, I can tell. If they're going that hard, especially going that hard against fake DMCA strikes.
But
like I don't know. I think companies that are super pro streamer, I think they have a better business model, and the customer support and services just seems better whenever they.
they're going to have a lower customer acquisition cost. Other people are doing the advertising for them.
Right.
That's why I don't, in most cases, I don't understand DMCA strikes on games. Now, the number one cause of DMCA strikes on games is actually not game companies.
Really?
It is music companies, which is why games are now adding. You'll notice a lot of games are now adding streamer mode. In streamer mode, what they do is they take all the copyright music out of it.
That's. I love that. I love that they're adapting to it.
Yeah, I mean, Martha is Dead. That's the game I played recently. It's a story-based game, but they expected people to stream it. They put streamer mode in there to take all the copyrighted music out of there.
That's so cool.
I think it's smart, though, because you want people to be able to stream your game.
No, I agree.
Now, I don't necessarily think that's true for, like, the Dragon Cancer. It's a 2-hour game, and once you play it, you play it. Once you experience it, you experience it. If you watch somebody play for 2 hours, if somebody watches me play for 2 hours tonight, they've already experienced that game. That being said, I encourage everybody, whether they're going to play it or not, to go buy the Dragon Cancer, because this family's been through a lot. They want to make more games, and from what I understand, the game is just phenomenal. They want to make more games. Help them get their money back and start getting money to create new games.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a $10, $5, or $10 game. Buy the game and support these parents who shared their strategy to give people a good experience.
A good game.
Good game, you know.
Great game.
So I hope so, because I'm playing it from start to finish tonight.
Ooh.
It's only supposed to be about 2 hours.
Okay, that's not too bad. That's worth the $5, I would say.
I think I'm probably going to start that around 8 tonight. But yeah, I have a lot of respect for companies that do what they should do, or you know, fight for creators. That's how creators make their living. But look at games like Among Us. Among Us wouldn't have ever been on. I mean, it was out for like a year and had no traction at all.
Yeah, it came out in 2018. 2 years later, Soda Poppin throws it on stream.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, they sold 10 million copies.
Honestly, if you want, and if you even look at game companies now, they're releasing games and paying streamers to play them. Because it's marketing. It's absolutely the cheapest marketing they're going to get.
Yeah. I think a streamer with a big audience is the perfect demographic.
Well, it's not just
like, it
that,
doesn't matter
though.
the streamer.
If you get a streamer with a big audience playing, you'll probably get a streamer with more streamers with small audiences playing too. And if that grows, you just got a ton of free advertising.
Yeah.
I really think what the whole Dmca thing amounts to is that the copyright law is not up to date with today's digital standards.
I agree.
I feel like the DMCA needs to take a look at it, give a much better definition of fair use than we have now. Because right now you can go to court and say it's fair use. One judge could say it is, and one judge could say it's not. It's subjective.
It's a thin line that anybody can go past or work around.
But the whole reason I brought this Bungie thing up, one, I don't think a lot of streamers really know a lot about the copyright law, how it actually works, and
no,
you know, things like I was talking about earlier. And they should. They need to be made aware of that, especially if they're making their living on that.
I agree. I think it should be formatted better and not like fine print.
Right. Two, I think that the copyright law is highly outdated. And you know, people need to know what it is right now because they don't. And three, I just wanted to acknowledge the fact that Bungie did that.
Right. That I think it's impressive that they're going so far.
Well,
to try and take down this.
I'm not sure they would have went as far. I mean, they may have and they may not have, and it's hard to say because it's not what happened. But since these guys actually put copyright strikes against Bungie for Bungie's software.
That's funny. That's funny.
I'm not sure it would have came to what it's coming to now, but I'm glad it is, and I hope that it sets a precedent for more game companies to come out and say, we support small streamers. You know, we're with you on this. So, and even change their actual terms and conditions, so that it's actually in the contract what you can do and what you can't do when you stream.
Right.
Because right now it's just a separate document that is not a legal document at all. It's just well, if you do it this way, we probably won't do anything to you.
Right.
So, I mean, change it to this is the rights you have when it comes to streaming. I think it's going to happen eventually, but it's a matter of time. I think more companies will come on board, but also think this may accelerate that.
I think it's going to take a while.
I don't remember anything in my history of watching tech stuff or YouTube or gaming of a game company going this far.
Right.
Or anything like this.
I've only heard of like indie devs going out of their way to do something like this. Never AAA.
And I think it's amazing.
I do too.
And
super beneficial.
I think they will earn themselves a lot of positive credit in their community and for supporting their community. And I would love to see more large game studios do that, because I really think it would actually help them sell more games.
Right.
You know, it's kind of like Twitch streamers tend to support Twitch streamers.
Yes.
And that helps them grow.
Yes. No. Yeah.
Well, like, okay, say I watch you all the time, and you know I stream too. You get done streaming, and you look, and you're like, okay, I wonder if he's on. Maybe we'll rate him. You get me a couple more followers. That's how you grow on Twitch.
I think collaborations is one of the best ways. Yeah.
You know, and then as you move forward, you know, but game companies can do the same thing. They don't even have to pay for it. They just have to support their communities.
Yeah.
That's
They
it.
just have to have a circle.
So if you do
Gotta
what
help each other out.
Bungie is doing, which is to be one of the first to jump into that club of we support creators, I think that could boost game companies a lot. Because just like streamers support streamers, streamers are going to support game companies that actively and visibly support them.
Right.
You know, maybe I'm wrong, but I think that is any game company that is smart right now is going to follow Bungie's lead. Probably not sue people because they're not in the same situation, but make it actively clear we support the streaming community. And we are not going to tolerate, you know.
I expect no one else to do that, though. That's the thing.
I don't
your
either,
expectations.
But I think that if I owned a game company, a large game company, a small game company, that is exactly what I would do, because I think it's something that would be noticed. And it's just like, you know, I'm not really much of a Twitch streamer. I do stream, but it's not really my main goal. But I support all sorts of other streamers. Now, I don't really like using Twitter. I have 1,400 followers, but it's not something I find fun. I use it because I wanted to grow a website, but I use that to support other streamers. I use that to, basically to support other streamers and other creators in general. In return, I've gotten a lot of support. I've gotten a lot of followers. So
yeah. I just use Twitter to shitpost and that's it.
The important things.
The important things in life.
The absolute important things. But I think that's it on the docket. Do you have anything else to run over? We actually reviewed the game this week.
I know. Exciting.
Actually played it a little bit more, even though I'm still in Basement 1. I have paused quite a bit, but...
You'll get there eventually. I believe in you.
I'm actually enjoying it. I wasn't like the first podcast. I wasn't really that sure about it because, one, I was playing with volume off, which I'm still playing with volume off, but
it's better with the volume.
It is better with the volume, but I don't really want that, you know, throughout the whole podcast.
Right. I understand that.
So, and I didn't really know what was going on, and honestly, I didn't figure out the controls. Like, I figured out that you can shoot. I didn't figure out you just have to press the direction that you're going to shoot. So, you know, I was a little lost. I'm actually greatly enjoying it. More than I thought I would. Because playing it last week, I was like, it's okay. It's decent. But playing it in between where I actually got some playtime, I was like, yeah, this is a game that's going to make me throw my controller through my monitor.
I can't wait till you're addicted and 100 hours in.
Games that make you throw your controller through your monitor are the best games.
They are. They really are.
Another game that I'm playing is called Catherine, and it's a game that Austin, who watches my channel sometimes, recommended. And I started playing it, and I thought it was the stupidest thing in the world. Until I got to like past like 4 or 5 levels, and I was getting so pissed off when I couldn't finish a level. And then
I need a good puzzle game to play.
Play Catherine.
That's what I need. Play Catherine? Okay.
Play Catherine. Streaming it is a little bit of a challenge. There's 2 ways to do it. One works better than the other. I have 2 computers, so the way I stream it, because whenever you load something that will capture the exe file, the game will crash.
Oh.
It has like anti-streaming built into it.
Oh.
However, I have 2 computers, and I mean, even if you have like a desktop and a laptop, run it on one, use Steam streaming to stream it to the other, and then stream the stream.
Interesting. That's a lot of loopholes.
That's one way to do it. Another way to do it is to use display capture if you have 2 monitors.
Okay.
That way it's not trying to grab the exe files, so
Right.
it doesn't crash. But it is... I mean, you can probably find it on my past streams. It is...
I've watched you played it before. It seems interesting.
The last boss that I had to fight was this creepy giant baby. It was horrible. It was horrible. This whiny little thing was just chasing after me, smashing me with his pacifier. But no, if you like puzzle games, you would probably enjoy it. It's a very fast-paced puzzle game.
Okay.
But I think we're ready to wrap it up.
Sure.
So, are you streaming tonight?
I am. I'm streaming CS:GO for my weekly Toxic Tuesday series.
I've never played CS:GO.
It's a lot of fun.
I mean,
I hate to admit it, but it's a lot of fun.
I've heard it's fun. I don't know if it's still... It used to be riddled with hackers.
And I haven't run into any recently. Like, I would boot it up like maybe 3 years ago, 4 years ago, and then I'd have to leave the game because I would get a headshot as soon as I spawned in the game. But no, recently it's been fine for me at least.
I might have to give it a try. I'm always looking for new stuff to play.
It's a ton of fun.
Yeah, I mean, for a long time it was a #1 game on Steam.
Yeah.
For a
If you
very
ever need
long
someone
time.
to queue up with, I'm there.
I mean, other games I want to play. Have you played Inside?
Yes, I have.
How is it?
I like it. It was a lot of fun. Or I enjoyed it a lot.
What about Devour?
No, I've never heard of that one.
It's a scary game. It's like $4 on Steam. It's 4-player co-op.
Okay.
I mean, it looks kind of like it might be a premise similar to like Dead by Daylight, but also different. So I kind of want to play it. It looks good.
Have you ever played GTFO?
I have not, but that's another game that I have.
That's a fun game.
I have and I have installed. I'm trying to think of what free games. Do you like Overwatch at all?
I've played a lot of it, but I haven't recently.
Have you played Paladins?
No.
Paladins is very similar to Overwatch, but I like it a lot better.
Really?
In Overwatch, I feel like you get shot a couple times, you're done. You're down. Paladins has a very similar play style. It has heroes. They have a special ability. They all have their own powers. It's a very similar game, but it's not quite as fast-paced.
Okay. Interesting.
And it's free, so I mean, that's one if you ever want to try it. The only other game I really want to play right now is It Takes Two. I need to find someone to play it with.
I want to play that game too.
I mean, if you want to play it, I have it.
You have it?
Yeah, you have to play it co-op with somebody. I mean, that's
I know
why I haven't played it. But It Takes Two is pretty interesting the way they released it, because when you buy the game, you automatically can play with guests that don't have the game.
That's really cool.
And it doesn't run through like Steam Link or Steam Remote Play like most things do. You can download, like, say you're playing it on Xbox, another person on their Xbox can download a guest version of It Takes Two, and they can only play it with somebody who has the game, has bought the game.
That's interesting.
So I mean, if you ever want to play it, I'm down.
Cool. Yeah. And then I know. How'd that go?
She didn't like it, so I haven't played it since.
Oh.
I'm like a half hour in the game, and I had to stop because she didn't like the game.
Mm-hmm. So I know Risk of Rain 2, they did a similar thing when their game came out, but instead of giving out guests like passes, they just had a 2-for-1 sale. You buy one, you can give another one to your friend, which I thought was really cool.
That's kind of like the Dark Picture anthology games when they come out. Most of the time when they come out, if you buy one, you get a guest copy for a friend.
Mm-hmm. No, that's cool.
But I'll go ahead and wrap this up. Did you say you're streaming at 8?
7:30, something like that. Whenever I get on, pretty much.
If I can, I'll drop in your stream before I hop on mine.
Cool.
So,
all right.
But for everyone listening, if there is anybody listening, I would much rather you go watch FootedRanger's stream tonight than watch mine and show him some support and help him grow a little bit. He just got affiliated.
No.
Celebrate.
They need to cry on your stream tonight.
You just want people to watch me cry. That's all it is.
I'll go check the VOD after. Don't worry.
Okay. Well, have a good night, man. Enjoy your stream, and we're gonna go ahead and cut it.
All right. Thank you for having me on.
Hey, I appreciate it.